We're there.
Live. We are live. Good morning, everybody. I feel an echo. Was there an echo?
There is an echo, but we'll just have to deal with it.
Okay. Just making sure. I want to make sure we get our technical difficulties sorted out ahead of time. So, good morning, everybody. My name's Courtney Barstad-Logan. This is Put a Fork in It, the Grand Forks premiere Facebook Live show. And we're super excited that you're joining us today. We have a special guest. Missing our third wheel or leg or whatever we want to call him, I suppose. We are missing Senator Scott Meyer, who is representing us in the Senate right now. But I'm going to pass it to my favorite co-host.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Kimberly Efta with Remax Grand and My Grand Cities on Facebook and Instagram. And super happy to be here today. It's Groundhog Day, you guys. And he saw his shadow, so that's a bummer. Yeah, but we're excited to have our special guest, Danny Rancourt. She's a registered dietitian, and she works at All True Sports Advantage, where I go and work out. And super happy to have her here. And I'll let her introduce herself a little bit.
Hi, everybody. So as Kim said, my name is Danielle Rancourt. You can call me Danny, though. It's actually not pronounced Danielle Rancourt. Fun fact, I am French-Canadian from Ontario. So it's actually pronounced Danielle Rancourt, but people around here can't roll their R's, so I just go Rancourt, just to make it easier for everybody. But yes, I am a registered dietitian and certified sports dietitian. I'm also a trainer here at Sports Advantage in the Old Shields. And yeah, I don't know what else you want to say. Want me to say about myself?
That's perfect.
I'm excited you're here because this has been the year of Get Fit for Kim, and I've been watching her and living vicariously through her. So I'm excited for you to share more of what you guys have been doing together and what you do in the community.
Yeah, so one of the things Danielle talked to me about, and she has it right behind her, is a metabolic rate test. So she had me, she's like, come test it, come do this, come fast, and come do this 10-minute test. Can you explain a metabolic rate test, Danielle?
Yeah, so I have this little metabolic machine in my office, and the thing is, the reason I got excited that Ultra was like, here's a metabolic test machine, is because many people, especially women I would say over like 35, think that their metabolisms are broken, and that's kind of sometimes like a subconscious like answer, or maybe it's like a subconscious like excuse to why they can't achieve their goals, which is most often weight loss. And they're like, oh, I can't lose weight because my metabolism is broken, you know? And what I love about my machine, most of the time it tells them that it's not broken, and then we have to dig deeper into their daily lifestyle nutrition habits. And then once we actually start to work on these habits daily, they start to see some results, and they're like, the metabolism machine was right.
And that's really what happened too. I was like, shoot, somebody was right. It was me.
And the thing is about metabolism is that, like, just like kind of just side fun note about metabolism is that a lot of people might see ads on social media like Instagram and Facebook, and it's like, click here for 10 metabolism boosting foods, or like, this powder will boost your metabolism. No, it's not. The best thing you can do to increase your metabolism or metabolic rate is to increase your lean mass. Increase your muscle mass. And women might think, I have to get bulky. No, you don't have to get bulky. But increasing muscle mass is basically the best way to increase your metabolism. And just resistance training, even with bands, it doesn't have to be heavy weights. 2 times a week will help boost that metabolism. No spicy, like no spices or like skinny teas are going to do that for you. Lifting weights or resistance training with bands or whatever it may be is the answer to increasing your metabolic rate.
So what do you think right now? Obviously January, right? Like everybody's like, woo, get fit, new year, new you, like that whole thing. And as I'm like gently easing into my once a week yoga, I'm calling that a nice ease into 2021. But what do you do with the folks that are like, I'm all in, I'm gonna do these 50 things and here's what I'm gonna do. And then come February, you can't contact them. They're like the client that disappears. What's your kind of secret sauce to keeping people engaged?
Yeah, so I'm really glad you brought that up because, so as you probably can imagine, the first Monday of January is typically like, it's actually not National Diet Day, but for me, like as a dietitian in this field, it's unofficial diet day because it's when most people start either their new diet or start working towards their New Year's resolutions. And a week ago, I went live on my social media to tell people that by that day, which was, Monday, January 25th, I believe, by that day, most people that set New Year's resolutions or started a New Year's diet actually fell off. They abandoned these diets or these attempts at achieving their goals. And you said it in your question, people trying to do 50 things. That's one of, I guess, the issues. One thing keeping people from achieving their goals is that they're trying to do too many things at once. So statistics show that we're not good at multitasking, even though we think we are. Sure, we can, hold 5 Hugo's grocery bags in each hand. I think that we can do that. But in terms of achieving our goals and goal setting, statistics show that if we focus on one habit, just one lifestyle habit, and just this one thing, we have an 85% success rate. 85%, which is pretty good. Like if you get an 85 on a test in school, your parents are happy, you're pretty content. I was, like A+ or nothing, so that 85 was not probably good for me back in the day. Huge nerd. But 85% success rate when we focus on one thing. Now, when we add a second habit to the mix or a second goal, that success rate goes from 85 to 35%, which is mind-blowing. Because we think like, I can do this one thing and this other thing. Like I can do 2 things. No, humans are not good at focusing all their time, effort, energy into multiple things at once. And the craziest part is if we had a third habit into the mix, now there's a less than 10% success rate. So what I want to set my clients up for success, of course. Like the last thing I want is for people to feel like failures. And so usually we pick one thing, and it's usually a very simple thing because we want to feel success right away, to build positive momentum, because a lot of times people that are trying to achieve these goals, guess what? This is not the first time they've tried. This might be, okay, I'm trying one more time. This is the last year that I'm trying to, lose 20 pounds. So they've done it before and they have felt like failures, and they're almost done, like they're almost over it. And so when we focus on just one simple habit and something that's going to start to give them positive feedback. So for example, if you have your typical North American that eats an American diet, like eating out a few times a week and, lots of, processed foods, if we just simply add 1 cup of vegetables every single day at dinner, no matter what they're eating. Some of my clients are like, well, my wife makes tater tot casserole like twice a week. What do I do? I go, okay, like let's take your portion of tater tot casserole, let's cut it in half and add a cup of veggies. So they're still including their favorite foods. I would never take away tater tot casserole from a North Dakotan. I would never do that. That's not a good idea. They would fire me on the spot. They're like, I can't work with her because she doesn't let me include my favorite foods. And you definitely want to include those favorite foods because humans want what they can't have, whether they're 5 or 50. If someone tells us we can't have something, we want it that much more. And it's the same thing with nutrition. If someone says, oh, you can't eat carbs on this diet, well, guess what? They're always thinking about carbs. They want them that much more. They taste that much better when they do have them. So we focus on one thing at a time, and we try to make this something that they can do daily, right, to build that consistency, because research shows that success when it comes to weight management or even achieving goals, it's all about consistency. It's all about consistency. It's probably the most important thing, because you can eat well for, anyone can eat well for 2 to 3 days. Anybody can do that. But can you do it over the weekend? Can you do it the next week and the next week and the next week? And so it's all about consistency. It doesn't matter where it's low fat or keto. What matters is, can you be consistent? And can you find a balance?
Last year when I came in, I was like, Danny, I need a diet where I can have a White Claw and pizza. And she wrote me a plan, including a White Claw and pizza.
Yeah, so I'll include, so I don't make like meal plans because they're so non-flexible, right? Like a meal plan where it's like exact foods, like 1 cup rice, 3 broccoli florets, like that works for maybe 1 out of 10 people, because it's very static and it doesn't really allow for the flexibility and the randomness of life. Like if someone says, hey, let's go out to Helix on Friday, but like nothing on that menu is on the plan. So then what? And so I like to give my clients an example day of what balance looks like. That's kind of the purpose of these example day. And so I'll take their favorite foods, their favorite healthy foods, and I'll ask them like, what's your favorite like treat food? And for Kim, she was like, I just love a White Claw and some pizza. And we order pizza a lot because we have kids. So like me, I try to be as realistic as possible. Like if you have kids and you're having pizza every Friday night, I'm going to put that on your example day, because I'm going to show you how pizza and White Claws can fit. How can you continue to achieve your goals? And she thought it was so funny when I emailed her for example day, because it was, it was pretty balanced, like 80-20. Like most of her day was like, hey, like power plate meal, because she's a busy mom doing all the things, and that's what helps her achieve her goals. Breakfast was maybe like a Greek yogurt with fruit, and then we had the power plate meal with like a little tiny piece of chocolate next to it, and then snack was maybe veggies and hummus, and then dinner was 2 slices of pizza and a White Claw. She goes, I can't believe you just put this on my like plan. And I go, well, that's real life. Like I want you to be able to include your White Claw and your pizza, but instead of having 4 to 5 slices, which I'm sure we could all crush 4 to 5 slices, but if we're trying to achieve our goals, we need to be a little bit more disciplined, not strict, but disciplined. Be like, hey, pizza can fit, but I'm still trying to achieve my goals. So I'm going to have 2 pieces and 1 White Claw instead of 4 pieces and 2 White Claws. And I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to have a healthy breakfast, because one of the things I like to do is to avoid the snowball effect of these fun foods. So if you have a treat night on Friday, start the day off fresh with a healthy breakfast the next day.
When you say a small amount of chocolate, like what does that look like to you?
Small amounts of chocolate, like a Lindt truffle or like 1 Reese's cup. Yeah, I throw Reese's cups on my clients' example days all the time if that's one of their favorites, especially if I'm meeting them around the Halloween season. Reese's tends to be a fan favorite from the kids' baggies, but really it's whatever their favorite treat is. Funny story, I had a client last week, and we're located right next to Hugo's on Columbia, and I go, what's your favorite treat food? Like, is it chocolate? She goes, honestly, I'm more of a chip girl. And I go, okay, I could get on board with this. I love me some Doritos. And she goes, yeah, so what's a healthy, this is really good for our listeners. She goes, what's a healthy alternative to chips? She goes, do you have any recommendations of healthy chip brands? And I go, well, yeah, there's always a healthified version, but that's not going to satisfy your craving. Like when you want your favorite food, you want your favorite food. And you might end up overeating trying to avoid this favorite food. So if, at 8 p.m., you're like, I want Doritos. and you're like, but I shouldn't have Doritos. Doritos are bad. I'm going to have other things instead. I'm going to have fruit. Well, you have fruit and you're like, I still want Doritos. And you're like, I'm going to have air pop popcorn with no butter. Still want Doritos. So now you're eating all these other things and you're going over your calorie goal because you're trying to dodge what could be something that's a part of your day. So I took her to Hugo's and I helped her buy chips. I said, we're going to do this together. Of course, I don't want her doing it every day, and I don't want the portion to be the entire bag. What we actually did, we bought those like snack-sized Doritos, the ones like Halloween. I go, add this into your day wherever you want. And she adds it to lunch. She has a balanced lunch, and then she has her little 1 ounce snack size of chips, and she looks forward to that. She gets excited about it. She goes, I can eat chips and still lose weight. It's all about finding that balance.
That's so true. Just so fun. What you've given me this year, even after the metabolic rate test, and then you gave me my macros, what I should focus on for my goals every day, and that calorie count. So I totally understand the whole balance thing because I need that in my life. But the other thing I want to talk to you about was it's Her Brand magazine. You're on the cover right here. You're on the cover.
Yes.
So,
I have it right here. I got the physical copy yesterday. Ashley Ray dropped it off while I was in a meeting with my clients. I was like, slipped it under the door. She goes, I gotta go pick up kids. Everybody, real life. But yeah, I got the physical copy, so super exciting.
That is like a badass picture too, by the way.
It is.
Thank you. See, not bulky, right, ladies? Not bulky, strong.
Yeah, focused.
It was a heavy sled.
Yeah, well, I like it though. Like it's got everything there. I have another question for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so nighttime in the winter. Mm-hmm. I know Kim's kind of similar to me. My son goes to bed like really early. He just is like an early man. But like 7 o'clock, I eat dinner, I sit down, and then I just like get back to work. But love me my bowl of chocolate chips. I really look forward to that. But I am like such a nighttime snacker. And then when I'm like, nope, I shouldn't do that, I'm like starving.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, because there's always like drink this or do that, or like you could drink hot water. And I'm like, that's not chocolate chips. Like what?
That is not chocolate.
Yeah, right. But like, okay, I'm sorry. But like one peanut butter cup, I'd be like, well, that was nice. But I know I have the bag in the freezer. So I'd be like 8 more.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a really good question. And I feel like when I start to meet with especially women, they're often very snacky at night. And I think one of the things, like one of the common reoccurring, I guess, themes or situations is that there's not a lot of intake at the beginning of the day for most women. So if they do have breakfast, it might be like a 120 calorie bar with like 1 gram of fiber and like 3 grams of protein. And then maybe like a medium-sized lunch, or maybe their lunch is more of a snack because they're so busy. And then they have a normal-sized dinner with, protein and veggies. But then at night, it's snack attack. And that's when snackcidents happen. Yes, snackcidents. And what has helped many of my clients, especially the female clients, reduce this snacky feeling at night is to spread intake more throughout the day. So, and one of the most, specific things that we like to spread throughout the day is protein. So I feel like most men get adequate protein, but women, because we don't like eating big chunks of meat as much as the men do, we're not always hitting our protein goals. And if we are, we're not hitting it at the beginning of the day, which kind of makes us feel more snacky at night. And so when I start to spread people's intake throughout the day, like, hey, like, you don't have to have a huge breakfast, but like, can we add a little bit more? Can we have a protein source and a fiber source? Those are the 2 things that are going to help you feel more full. So instead of maybe just the banana in the car, can we add like a little like Greek yogurt cup to that banana? Can we add even like a ready to drink protein milk to, you know, your oatmeal, because sometimes it's just a bowl of oatmeal, like it's just carbs and water, you know, adding protein earlier in the day and then spreading that throughout the day. So every meal is going to have, you know, 20-ish grams of protein for the women. And then hopefully if there is a snack, including some protein as well. So protein and fiber spread throughout the day has helped my clients almost eliminate that nighttime snacking. Some of these women snacked every single night, and once they started spreading intake more throughout the day, and more specifically spreading protein and actually hitting their daily protein goal that I give them based on their body weight and, you know, very specific measures. It's not like, okay, every female should hit 120 grams. It's all calculated. Sometimes it's all by hand calculations. But one of these women told me after about 2-3 weeks of spreading intake throughout the day and protein, she goes, in the last 3 weeks, I think I've had one snack after dinner. She didn't even want
the mailman.
Oh, I get it. My dad's a mailman. But yeah, she did not feel snacky for the entire month. She had a snack one night, just one night. And that's from spreading intake more throughout the day, spreading protein throughout the day, and getting more fiber in.
That's awesome. For those that try to get up in the morning to work out, one like me, what would you suggest for like that morning breakfast? You don't want to feel too full before you hit the gym. What would you suggest just to get their tummy a little something in there?
Yeah. So if people want to eat before a very early morning workout, let's say it's 5:30 a.m. or 6:30 a.m., what you want to avoid at this time, like even, you know, 30 to 45 minutes before exercise, we definitely want to limit fat and fiber because they're slow digesting and you don't want that just kind of hanging around. Like no one wants that full bloated feeling during a workout, especially if it's a high intensity workout, especially if you're just going for a 20-minute walk with your dog, you know, anything really goes. But if you're doing anything moderate to high intensity, we want to stick to low fiber, digestible carbs. So think, you know, 15 grams of carbs, low fiber, and about, you know, 100 calories, you know, 75 to 100 calories. What does that look like? It could be half to a full banana, like 1 to 2 cutie oranges. This is when the low fiber, low protein, low fat granola bars would come in. So there's a time and place for everything. Like some people ask me, what do you think about chewy granola bars? Everybody knows those little chewy bars. And I go, what time of day? Because if it's 15 to 30 minutes before a workout, that is ideal because it's small, there's no fat, and there's no fiber, and it's just simple, digestible carbohydrates. That is the ideal time for that chewy bar. Is it ideal to have that chewy bar at 3 p.m. when you're really hungry? No. Because it's not going to satisfy you. There's not enough fiber and protein. So everything can fit, but sometimes it's about taking something from here, moving it to here, and mixing that around. So pre-exercise, we definitely want just simple, low-fiber, digestible carbohydrates, if anything. Some people don't like to eat before a 5 a.m. workout, and I understand. Like sometimes you're just not hungry. But if you do skip that pre-workout snack, you would definitely want to make sure that you have a post-workout snack or breakfast with protein, carbs, and fluids.
Love it. I'm glad I'm at the office and I'm not at home, because if my chocolate chips would have heard that they were a snacksident, it would have been really hard to, you know, to handle. But
yeah, and Courtney, like with your question with like even though spreading protein and spreading calories through the day helps reduce the nighttime snack, what if you are hungry or just want a healthier option? Like what are some good nighttime options? So if people include dairy in their diet, like some of my top recommendations are a little Greek yogurt cup. So my favorite brands, obviously like nutritionally plain Greek yogurt, you know, is the king of like nutrition labels, but I don't really recommend it to people because they're going to be like, ew, like, no, no, David, no. And so If they're making a smoothie, yes, because it kind of blends in and like, it adds some flavor. You got to add some stuff to plain Greek yogurt to make it taste good, like a lot of stuff. And sometimes it's just easier to pick and choose your battles. So I love the Too Good Greek yogurt. You can find that one at for sure Target, and it's at Sam's Club recently, limited time. So I definitely bought some. And then 000, which is the black yogurt. It's the only black container yogurt. And the reason I love these yogurts is because protein is higher than sugar. That's kind of like the number one thing that I tell my clients are like, how do I know which yogurt to buy? There's literally 200 on this wall. And one, I can have them like, hey, pick 000, the black container, or Too Good. But if that's not an option, just turn it around. Is protein higher than sugar? That's a better option than if it was the other way around. So besides like Greek yogurt, maybe a few berries at night. Cottage cheese is a really good option. I feel like people are either cottage cheese lovers or haters. There's not really an in-between. People in my office are like, oh, gross, cottage cheese. Or they're like, I love cottage cheese. It's never like, yeah, it's fine. It's definitely the extremes.
Yeah, the cottage cheese you recommended me, I ate at the office the first time. And I'm like, oh. But
she's over there like,
yeah, so I mean, it's not for everyone. If someone doesn't like it, we just find other options. So Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and in terms of something a little bit more snacky, so if you want something a little bit more like crunchy or fun, like Skinny Pop popcorn. So like Air Pop popcorn or Skinny Pop, like the thing is that I'm a big fan of pre-portioned things. Just sometimes you have to pay the extra $1 compared to the big bag or the big container when it comes to like almonds or popcorn. But honestly, it's worth it in terms of the portion control. So one of those like single serving like Skinny Pop bags. The thing about popcorn that I love is that when it's just like air popped or like not drenched in butter, 3 cups of popcorn is a serving. So that's like a really fun snack. You can even add like a couple almonds in there, to add a little bit of protein and just help satisfy you more. But popcorn is a whole grain, and so you're going to get some fullness factor from that fiber. And for something sweet, I love Outshine bars. I don't know if you've ever had an Outshine like popsicle, because it's super sweet. There's like real fruit chunks in it, and you're not gonna go over your calorie goal compared to if you were sitting there with a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, which is really hard to put down. Like I personally, honestly, like I'm a dietitian and I have no self-control with Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. So I just, honestly, my answer there is just, I don't buy it. I buy pre-portioned other things, like maybe those, like those chocolate covered like ice cream popsicle sticks, like just anything pre-portioned, and like everything can fit in your day, which I always, tell Kim, like she goes, oh, I really want to like eat this. I'm like, we can make it fit. Like we can find a place for everything. They might just not happen in the same day.
I love it.
Going back to like the smoothies that you talked about, I know you have a really easy smoothie recipe. Are you? Can you share it with all of our listeners?
I mean, it's not really fancy, and obviously I have like all the different smoothie recipes. But if you're trying to keep it simple and create a smoothie that's going to satisfy you, obviously we want a liquid, and that's liquid of choice. So like I like to use almond milk. But it could be anything. It could be water. Some form of protein. There's got to be some form of protein. The goal is at every meal and snack to include a protein source. So either a quality protein powder or something else that's going to give you a decent amount of protein. That's where the plain Greek yogurt would come in. So either 1 scoop of the quality protein powder or, 3/4 to 1 cup of the Greek yogurt, because then you're getting 20 to 25 grams right there with the 1 scoop or the 1 cup. And then definitely some fruit. So I say 1 to 2 cups fruit of choice. That could be banana. It could be berries. I like to do 1 banana and a cup of frozen strawberries, because who doesn't love strawberry banana? So we have the liquid, we have the protein, we have the fruit, and then I like to add in a little bit of, I call it like a friendly fat. So like a tablespoon of flaxseed or chia seed, just because very few foods provide omega-3s, especially in the American diet. Like, we're not eating salmon that often, or flaxseed or walnuts. And so sometimes it's easier to sneak it in a smoothie than to like eat a palm full of walnuts. Like, that's not always super enjoyable. So usually I do like 1 cup of almond milk, a banana, a scoop of quality protein powder. I use Thorne Research because it's NSF certified for sport, which what that means is that the athletes can feel good about using it. They don't really have to worry about, getting drug tested, and there's a banned substance in there. So the almond milk, the fruit, the protein, and then a tablespoon of flaxseed, ground, not the non-ground version. And then if you can sneak in like a handful of spinach or kale, you shouldn't notice it. But again, with the smoothie, it all depends on someone's goals. Like, if we're talking about my coworker Kyle, who's like a super like muscular guy, and he needs like 5,000 calories a day, his smoothie and my smoothie do not look the same. And that's one of the keys to nutrition coaching, is individualization. Like, I would never give him the same smoothie recipe that I would my 35-year-old weight loss mom, because they have different goals, different metabolisms, different bodies, different schedules, different lifestyles, different preferences. And so it's all about individualization.
Are you saying I don't look like Kyle, like buff?
I mean, I think you could take him for sure.
Yeah. He probably gets peanut butter in his smoothie, Kim. Come on.
Yeah, he probably does. I mean, he's a bodybuilder. So.
His smoothie is next level. He has to take breaks halfway.
He's like chewing his smoothie.
It's called a Gains smoothie, Gains with a Z. I give it to my high school male athletes that have a hard time putting on weight. And it's very filling.
Have him give me a call. I'll put him on the chocolate chip diet. Let's do it.
Yeah.
The Gains. Kim, if we ever have to get on the Gains,
then we know we hit our goal.
Yeah. Like, whoops, too far.
Too far, Danny. Help me.
That's awesome. Well, any final tips? I know again, like, I've been watching Kim, and so it's great. I'm like the girl on Bridesmaids that's like in the corner doing the sit-ups, and like, you have to pay for this class. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of like very simple nutrition tips, is just like start with one thing. Just pick one thing. Think of one thing you can improve on right now. Most people are not meeting their, what I call, vegetables. Most people are not meeting their vegetables. Only 1 out of 10 North Americans eats the recommended daily amount of fruits and veggies. So that's always a good place to start, because one of the things I like to do is add more good things into someone's life and diet, rather than removing things that they might consider bad. And eventually they'll just replace those other things. So think of one thing you can improve on. Maybe it's drinking more water, which has been challenging in the last year with masks. It's like a huge challenge for my athletes and my clients, especially teachers. They're like, I cannot drink water. I cannot take off my mask, So thinking of one thing you can improve on, whether it's like, hey, I'm going to include 1 cup of veggies every night at dinner, or I'm going to drink, instead of, 2 of these water bottles a day, I'm going to drink 3. Or, I think a lot of people sometimes set like unrealistic exercise goals. Like, it's the new year, I'm going to work out 6 days a week for an hour. But, that's not, if you were to ask yourself, like, how confident am I that I can achieve 6 days a week for an hour on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, if it's not an 9 or a 10, that goal needs to be adjusted. It really does. So, sometimes it's best to set the bar lower, be successful, and then raise the bar, rather than setting it really high and then failing and then feeling like a failure. We want to set ourselves up for success and small wins, especially in the beginning, to feel good about ourselves and feel successful and see like very small results coming on. And so just being like, okay, like, I really want to get to 6, workouts a week, but if I commit to 3, I know I can achieve that. And if I get a 4th, that's a bonus, So committing to less achieving less and then, you know, adding on. And that's what we do with my nutrition clients. We progress. So we set one goal, and once we crush it, once we are consistent for 3 to 4 weeks, then we add a new one, and that first one has become habitual. So they don't have to think about it because they're doing it so consistently. So after 30 days, if they're eating a cup of veggies every night at dinner without even thinking about it, then we add another goal. They're still adding the veggies. That's a habit now. And now maybe we move on to, you know, adding more water into the day. But
one question came in too. It came from Wes Wells, and he put, what are your thoughts on fruit and veggie supplements? Like an example, the Balance of Nature.
That's a very specific brand that I'm not sure of. I honestly can't keep up with all the brands. But when it comes to fruits and veggies, my recommendation is always food first. The thing about fruit and veggie supplements, even, you know, fiber supplements, omega-3 supplements, your body, like, when you're getting it from real food, it's more bioavailable. What that means is your body absorbs it best from real food sources. So I always say food first and utilize supplements to fill the gaps. So we don't want to replace fruits and veggies with like vitamins or green powders. We want to use these as supplements. Like, supplement literally means to add. So we want to add those in addition to, not replace. So I don't know about that specific brand, but I always say food first and then supplement to fill the gap. So you can still include, you know, your greens powder, especially if you enjoy it and you feel like it like makes you achieve your goals. But we definitely don't want to not include real fruits and veggies and then just live on these supplements.
Good information.
Yeah.
Well, it's after 10, and I know you had to get to a meeting, and so we don't want to take too much.
We have to learn how to lift heavy things with barbells.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm also a trainer. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, we do some kind of strength training education.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe we can come over from the office because you're located right next door, and we can.
Totally. You guys can come visit anytime. Refill your water bottles.
Yes, I do need to do that.
It has the largest water bottle I've ever seen in my life.
I don't have
So
a.
it has like a backpack strap.
I know, she has a backpack water bottle. It's like she's running a marathon.
I should start getting the Camelback to wear.
You should just.
Yeah, but I guess to conclude, like, just for the people that are listening, just think of one thing you can improve on. Write it down and make it specific. So if it is like vegetables, for example, you don't want to write down eat more veggies. It's not measurable. It's not specific. You want to write down like include 1 cup of veggies every night at dinner. You know, that's specific, that's measurable, and you want to do that every day. Consistency, you know, is how we end up getting the results. And then the second thing is just realizing that all foods can fit, and if you're miserable trying to achieve your goals, you're doing it wrong. You should not be miserable. It should be enjoyable. Like, my clients come in and they go, this doesn't feel like a diet. You know, like, we're so excited because they can go to Skies on Friday night with their husband, and they can go to Parrots Cave, which, I mean, it's very challenging for me to give them a healthy recommendation, but I go, hey, like, this menu, like, I don't know, but instead of having like a pound of wings, have half, you know? So it's just, if you're miserable, you're doing it wrong. It really should be somewhat enjoyable, and it should be balanced, and you should be able to include your favorite foods. So anytime someone says that, like, you can't, you know, eat your favorite foods, or, you know, you can't drink wine, or you can't drink margaritas and achieve your goals, like, walk away, because you can include your favorite foods. And I'm a strong believer that just increases sustainability.
Awesome.
And Wes just said, great show. Thanks, ladies. Thanks, Wes.
Thanks, Wes.
Name went well. Fun name.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to try to implement a goal myself, and hopefully we inspired some other people. And then can you just share where you're located and how people can connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm located at Ultra Sports Advantage. It's in the Old Shields. We're next to Hugo's on Columbia. So if you're gonna show up now, don't walk into the Performance Center because that's where physical therapy, OT, speech therapy is. For some reason, everybody walks through that door because they see the word performance. And yes, I'm a performance dietitian, but I am endorse Ultra Sports Advantage. And if people want to work with me or just ask me questions, one, they can walk in. Two, they can email me. My email here at Altru is D and then my last name, Rancourt, or as we talked about, Court. So D Rancourt at altru.org. And then I'm also on social media. That's how many of my clients find me because I post my whiteboards every week and my live videos and recipes. So my Instagram at Danny the RD for registered dietitian, and I also have a Facebook page, Danielle Rancourt, dietitian nutritionist. I try to go live on either Instagram or Facebook once a week just to present, give out some valuable content about like New Year's diets and recipes, things like that. So that's how you can find me.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yes, make sure that you check her out. She's located in the Remax Strip Mall.
Oh yeah,
in Columbia.
Next to Starbucks, so dangerous.
Yeah, we love being your neighbor. Well, thank you again. We really appreciate it. This has been so valuable, and I know a lot of people definitely will get a lot of information from rewatching. And so let us know if you're replaying this. We'd love to know. And make sure with everything you do today and this week, you put a fork in it.
Awesome. See you, everyone.